So what do I think are the 10 best clear iPhone cases? I've got about 100 iPhone 7 cases in total. 30 of them are clear, and there's not 30 here. There's about 20, and there's another 10 in my car. It's just sitting around. I'm just baking them in the sun just to see if they turn yellow or not. But I've personally used every one of these cases. I've run them through my scoring system. So the next 10 cases that I'm going to talk about, you can be damn sure that they are pretty decent cases. Now, there are a couple of things to consider for clear cases. Every one of these clear cases is most likely going to show fingerprinting very easily. Your drops are going to be more apparent on clear cases. And certain cases, depending on the materials that they use, will yellow over time. It's a very gradual change. You won't notice it on a day-to-day basis, but if you were to take like a Tech 21 Impact Clear, the one that you've been using for 4 months, and go back to the Apple Store and compare the two, it's going to be a different shade of white. It's going to be yellower. So let's get started with the top 10. If you want to know kind of how they're all rated, I'll do the first 20 on my website. So the links are in the I or the description section below. Number 10 goes to the Urban Armor Gear Plasma. Now, I'm generally a pretty big fan of Urban Armor Gear products. The Armor Gear Monarch is one of the best cases I've reviewed for the iPhone 7. The plasma comes in a variety of different colors, so you don't necessarily have to settle for a regular clear case. There's a lot of texture on the case, so it won't slide to your hand easily. The biggest downside, in my opinion, is the headphone jack cutout, which is great for iPhone 6 or 6S users, but looks a little awkward for iPhone 7 users. Number 9 goes to the Incipio Octane. The Octane is a case that has Titan-like grip along the edges and a slip and slide for a back. I like how the edges of the case have been improved over the iPhone 6 version. The frosted back will show off the color of your iPhone, and it will hide scratches easier than a traditional completely clear case. There is 6-foot drop protection for your iPhone 7, but it only applies to the corner of the case, so it theoretically will not protect your iPhone from 6 feet face-first drops, regardless of what the box says. Number 8 goes to the Spigen Crystal Hybrid. The biggest selling point of the Hybrid, in my opinion, is the fact that it's a clear case that comes with a kickstand. The kickstand isn't a very common feature, so if you spend a lot of time watching things on your iPhone, this Crystal Hybrid might be worth getting. The edges of the case are a bit slicker than other cases, but the back is very grippy, so it kind of offsets the slippery or slicker edges. Number 7 goes to the Caudabe Synthesis. I'm actually very impressed with this case. It's similar to the Incipio Octane in the sense that the back is quite slick and the edges are quite grippy. The biggest difference between the Octane and the Synthesis is actually the size, as the Caudabe case is just a tad thinner. Last thing I will say about the Synthesis is that my iPhone in this case feels a little softer. It's a different feeling. It doesn't feel like a rubber. It feels a little softer. Number 6 goes to the Spigen Crystal Shell. This is the highest rated Spigen clear case on this list. The entire case isn't as rigid as, a clear case from Spec, and there is a possibility that it might yellow, but the handling that this case provides your iPhone is spectacular. The entire case isn't a hard polycarbonate, so it won't scratch as easily as other clear cases. Number 5 goes to the Tech 21 Evo Mesh. It's one of the grippiest cases that I've used. If you're worried about your iPhone falling out of your hand, consider getting this Tech 21 Evo Mesh. My biggest concern with this case is the extra width it will add to your device. It may not be noticeable on a regular iPhone 7, but if you're uncomfortable with the general size of the 7 Plus, don't get this case because it's way too big. Number 4 goes to the Tech 21 Impact Clear. The Impact Clear doesn't have as much texture as the Tech 20 Evo Mesh, but it doesn't have much bulk. The reduced bulk also comes at a cost in terms of protection, as the Impact Clear is only drop rated to 5 feet, whereas in the Evo Mesh is drop rated to 6 feet. As I mentioned earlier, the Impact Clear may yellow over time. So before we get to the top 3, if this is the first time you're watching my videos, I do encourage you to click subscribe or share this video to somebody who might need to get a clear iPhone case. If you're considering getting one of these products, please go through my site, as none of these companies have paid me to put their products in this list. Most of these cases I had to go buy myself. I've spent thousands of dollars on iPhone cases over the last few years. So if you want me to keep doing it for the iPhone 7S and or 8, well, support me by getting it through the site. Thanks. Number 3 goes to the Ballistic Jewel. Now, Ballistic is the only manufacturer that, in my opinion, that purposely makes their cases bigger. The Jewel, which is basically a transparent urbanite, has larger than average corners, which allow the iPhone to sit better in your hand. The increased size of the corners also improves the drop protection that the corners offer your iPhone. If I had to be really picky, I would say the edges of the Jewel could be a little stiffer. Number 2 goes to the Incipio Reprieve Sport. It's a tough, rigid, clear case. Now, don't be fooled by the 12-foot drop protection claim, as 12-foot drop protection refers to only the corners, not the entire case. So don't expect this case to protect your iPhone from a perfectly flat face-first drop. The edges of the case are quite rubbery, and large corners mean that the case will sit better in your hand. The super clear back will show fingerprints quite easily actually, and is quite slick, so handling might take a hit. You might not see it, but I'm saying might in quotation marks because the edges are so rubbery and the larger than average corners. The Ghostek Cloak is the #1 case for a couple of reasons. It comes with a tempered glass screen protector, which is awesome and offers just as much protection as other cases on this list. I initially thought that the frame was actually a polycarbonate frame like I'd find on a Spigen case, but the frame is actually metallic, which is awesome. But that also leads to another problem, that if you were to bend the metallic frame, well, it's not going to fit the entire setup as well. The only other issue I noticed with the Ghostek Cloak is that it is a smidge slicker than other cases here, and some people might not like the look of the case, but overall, from a price perspective and the extra screen protector, the Ghostek Cloak, in my opinion, is the #1 case. So those are the top 10 lists. There's 2 cases that I personally feel that I personally like a lot that didn't make the cut for whatever reason, is the Lunatik Air. This is a very unique looking case, a very unique feeling case, as well as it's got an air bumper along the edges. But there are a couple issues with the screen protection. And the other one is the Poetic Affinity. It's a clear case, but it fits. I really like the feel of it, and it looks pretty awesome with my matte black iPhone 7. So if you want to know what I think are the top 10 slim cases, check out that video. It's probably going to be here on this side or that side. I'm not quite sure. I'm a little confused. Now, this is the 4th video I've filmed today, so I'm getting a little parched. I need to refuel myself. I'm Aaron the Ho. This is Monty the Ho. He helps me review all these cases. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below or ask them on my social media page. That's kind of all I got. Thanks for watching.